Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm Julietta, the magical PT, co host of the show, and I am a physical therapist here in Fort Lauderdale. Though originally a Midwestern girl, I grew up in Wisconsin, but I moved to Florida in 1994. And I have been in private practice since 2003. And part of the reason I went into private practice is because my practice tendencies tend to be outside the box. Um, some would call it alternative. I like to call it holistic. Most people call it magical, hence the magical PT. But I support people in bringing balance into not just their body, but their body, mind, and soul as well. Because if our emotions and our thought process are not balanced, it's impossible for our bodies to stay balanced. So you have to look at the individual as a whole, not just the parts. And in addition to doing healing physical therapy work, I also create healing artwork and jewelry as well. And since about a year ago, I've been doing this whole podcast thing with my bestie Allison here. So can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Mancini, and I am also a South Florida girl now for 29 years, but really Midwest girl at heart. I grew up in Michigan. So yes, Juliet and I had that instant connection that we were both Midwest girls when we met, because there's something about Midwest people. They're just really nice. So I am a mother to two adult children. I have a 25-year-old. Every time I say that, I'm like, God, is he already 25?
I
know, right? And a 22-year-old. And I have been married to my husband for 28 years. And again, we live here in sunny South Florida, although it's not so sunny out today, but typically sunny South Florida. And I am a human resources director for a company called The Gold Digger Girl. And I'm also a functional nutritionist. And my passion really is in helping women be the best that they can be through their health and wellness, and making sure that they're getting all the nutrition they need, because I know firsthand how if you're not getting good nutrition, it is very difficult to do all the things that you want to do in life. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. And Julietta, this is the month of February, and it's the month of love, which I know is one of your favorite subjects.
Yes, and again, I say it all the time. Love is what we need to solve every problem in the world.
So talk about love and, your body and
the body. Yeah. So, and it shows up in so many different ways. And, this is one of my frustrations too, is that in the English language, there's only one word for love.
Mm-hmm.
And in other languages, some of them have many words for love. So people get confused with love, and romantic love. And so romantic love is great, but that's not what I'm about. So I think one of the things, so love is the solution to every problem, but I also say if everybody fully loved themselves, all the problems that are out there would cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing in my work that I do how many people struggle to love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we definitely work on. But one thing I always point out to them is the fact that you're choosing to come in here and taking care of your body, that is showing yourself self-love.
Mm-hmm.
But the more love that you can bring into your body, love is an energy, love is an emotion, love is a feeling. But the more of that you can bring into your body, the healthier the physical state of your body will be as well. So, people, you do all these things to take care of your car, to take care of your house. But so many people out there are forgetting to take care of the most important piece of equipment they have, and that's their physical body. Your body is your temple. It's where your soul resides while you're here in this lifetime. And it does a lot of things to keep itself running, but just like everything else, it does require maintenance. So it doesn't stay perfectly balanced and tuned up all by itself. We use it, we wear it out. If we don't keep it balanced, it's going to wear out really fast. So the more balanced you keep it, the longer it can run. So that's go ahead.
What I always find amazing is, now that I've been working with you from that perspective, from physical therapy. So now whenever I get like aches or pains, my go-tos are the chiropractor and Julietta. So I kind of go with one or the other or both. Most times it's both. Most I end up at both of you, both my chiropractor and you. But what I find so interesting is now, because I've been working with you for on and off for 6-7 years, and you've treated my kids and my mom, and I know tons of people that have gone to you. And what interests me the most is now when I do something, like, for example, I did something to I think my glute or my leg, maybe my groin. I don't really know. It's all in that area the other day. And I texted her and I'm like, I need to see you. Like, I'm in major pain. And all day yesterday, I was so frustrated with myself because I was like, okay, Allison, what emotions are going on in you right now that caused this to happen in your body? I'm like, dang it, I'm going to get on Julietta's table and she's going to balance me. And I know she's going to make me feel better, but I have a feeling this is emotionally driven. This is because I'm not loving myself in some way and I'm not taking care of me in some way. Like, I just know. And I kind of wrestled with that all day yesterday. And I came to the realization yesterday that, okay, so yeah, I'm dealing with some of these particular emotions and that's okay. And blah, blah, blah. I woke up this morning, I'm still in pain, but I am not nearly as in much pain as I was yesterday. Like, I was ready to throw up. I was in so much pain. Like, have you ever had that bad of pain where it makes you nauseous? You want to throw? Oh, it was so bad. And yeah. And I'm like, I even texted Nick. He's like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm not good. He's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to see Julietta. I said, but I can't get in until Friday. He's like, why didn't you call her and see if you can get in sooner? I'm like, you're right. Like, I couldn't even think straight. Like, I'm like all over the place. It was a bad day, but it's so important. And I guess my whole point to saying that is that it really is about loving yourself, loving your body. You have to take care of your body because that is, just like you said, it's what our souls are walking around in while we're here. Like, we don't take care of our body, or our souls aren't going to be here much longer either, because they don't have that body to be in. So I think, I love the month of February. Speaking of which, because you said love in the United States in English only has one word, right? But in other languages, it has many words. So I'm a little curious about our next guest, but I know you have to talk about our sponsor first.
Yes, I do have to talk about our sponsor, which, knowing the owner of this company personally, she does what she does from a source of love. So
yes, I agree.
What she does is amazing. So our sponsor this month is Illyrios Massage and Beyond. Welcome to Intuitive Healing. Whether you are looking to recharge and replenish or just come in for a tune-up and a little work, Illyrios Massage and Beyond aims to support your body using various methods and modalities of massage, skincare, energy, healing, and more. Our unique intuitive fusion of East and West provides both structural and energetic realignment. From sports massage and deep tissue to cupping and hot stones, we work with your unique situation to provide healing and relief. Visit our calming oasis right here in Paradise in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So, I've known Marcia for years, and she just exudes healing from all of her pores. And so if you are in need of some pampering, some care, whether it's a massage or a facial, go see her. She is the best. And you can locate her information in our show notes to set yourself up with that.
I just have to add to that. That is so true. She just exudes love. She glows with love.
Yes.
When you meet her, it's so incredible. So yeah, I would highly recommend. Okay, we need to bring our guest on.
Yes.
All right. Hello, Elena. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
I'm so excited because you have to, well, obviously, please introduce yourself to our audience and let them know where you're coming from and a little bit about you and what you do.
Yes, I'm Elena, and I am a personal coach located in Italy. And I specialized in identifying your family's toxic emotional inheritance and societal toxic conditionings that are the root cause of most of our problems. And in this way, I help you eliminate all those internal obstacles, toxic elements, so that you can become free to choose how to feel, what to think, and how to behave. And in this way, you will evolve into a new human being.
I love that.
Yeah, because so often we're all just operating from these systems that were programmed into us, and we think that we're, operating from free will and choice, but um, a lot of
Yeah.
what we're choosing is based on the programs that have been implanted into us. So that's your work sounds fascinating, Elena.
Thank you. It's like you say, yeah, we think that we choose, that we are choosing, that are our own
Mhm.
choices, but in reality, they are conditioned.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what book I was reading recently, but they were talking about that. It was one of my wellness
Mm.
something, and it's such an interesting because they've like actually like scientifically proven that those things like go from generation to generation. Like it's really
Hmm.
really interesting, and we don't even, like you said, we don't even realize it. It's completely just happens,
Yeah.
and we think it's all of our own free will and
Yeah.
everything, but we're very very programmed already. So I think it's fascinating what you do. And I have to ask before we get into our questions. In Italy, are there different words for love?
I thought so. Oh my. Well, there is, yeah, for love. I know amore, you know,
Yeah.
this is the word for love. And there are many ways to say it, but I think that it's like in English, amore,
Okay.
love.
Okay.
That's
All right.
it.
And more is
Yeah.
like the direct translation of love, but you would say to your friend, like I tell Allison that I love her, but probably in Italian, I wouldn't say ti amo. I would say ti voglio
No.
bene, right?
Esatto. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
Ti
what did you
voglio
just say? I
bene.
don't even know.
so, but I said I love you, but in Italy, like to your friend, to let them know that you really care about them, you say
It in a
basically
different
I would
way.
translate it like I wish you well.
Uh, it's um,
I
it's
want the
love.
best for
Ti
you.
voglio bene. Yeah, ti voglio bene, but it sounds not that you love them less if you say ti voglio bene, but it's more when you say ti amo. Yeah,
Got it. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand what you're saying. I understand.
mhm,
Yeah. That's really interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So speaking of books and all of this stuff,
Mhm.
so we need to dive right into our questions. So our first question for you, Elena, and I apologize that I mispronounced that first, is what is one book that has greatly impacted you and that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Mhm. Yeah, there are many books, but
Yeah.
one is a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer,
Mm.
and it was advised to me by a colleague of mine. I was in that period. I was living in the Netherlands, and I was studying at college and working in a shoe store. And I was already going through my process of internal renewal. And one of the toxic tendency that I inherited from my family, this was from my father, was being a people pleaser. I didn't know what boundaries were. So I said yes to everybody
Mhm.
because I had that tendency from my father. And I had also emotional wounds that from where a toxic need generated, the toxic need to be loved and approved by others. And so I was this people pleaser, and it happened at work once that a colleague of mine asked me something, and I said yes, but inside I wanted to say no. Another colleague was listening, and she said, "You know, you have to buy this book." And the title is "Your Erroneous Zones,"
I've never
and
read that one.
it was a well an eye opener, I must say, because I already knew that I had the tendency, but I really didn't know how to eliminate it, how to deal with it. And by reading this book, I thought, yes, of course, that's it. I can practice. And it helped me to understand how to practice, to say no, and to set boundaries. It was a great, great support. So I advise to every goddess to read it because it's really good. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you just said to create set boundaries, because I find as women in general are very bad at having clear boundaries
Mm.
for ourselves. And that I have never read that book. I will add it to my list along with all my
Okay,
other
that's
books.
great. That's great.
Ah, and I do agree that it was interesting to me that you said you inherited that tendency from your father.
Mhm.
Um, because in general, I do see it is women that have the greater difficulty in saying no and always trying to please others. And that's definitely a habit I had in my younger days. And
Mhm.
it's still there a little bit sometimes, but definitely have made great strides in being able to set boundaries and say no um, and take care of me first, because we all know if you set yourself up to please everybody and say yes all the time, you're just going to
Yeah,
wear yourself out, and then you're not going to be able to serve anybody. So it's a
absolutely. Because you keep giving your energy away. And okay, sometimes it is okay, but you have to feel it when it is okay to give. But so often, no. And yeah, people can take easily advantage of you if you don't set the boundary. And I eliminated the tendency completely because I didn't want to have anything of that. Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. Well, that kind of leads into our next question, which is, what is your top self-care practice and how does that support you?
It is functional eating. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I learned actually. Well, I suffer from eating disorders for 23 years, and I had a very bad relationship with food, and my body guided me in making the wrong choices because I was forced to make those wrong choices by my family's toxic emotional inheritance. I inherited from my mother the tendency to have a troubled relationship with food, and I was also neglected emotionally by both my mother and father.
Mhm.
And this caused me emotional wounds. And all that pain forced me to sabotage myself. It wasn't my choice. And little by little, I became aware of those tendencies and the emotional pain. And I eliminated the tendencies. I healed the emotional pain, and I cured myself from my eating disorders.
Mhm.
And it was then when my body was finally free to guide me to make the right choices. And since then, it is my body that guides me in how to stay healthy, how to nourish it. And functional eating is what my body says. This means that I eat very simple, and not elaborated, and with all nutritions. I mean, the right amount of protein, carbs, and vitamin. I'm not attracted anymore by junk food, for example, not
Mhm.
at all.
Hmm.
And it's fantastic because it gives me energy, first of all. So I'm never hungry during the day or at night. And it helps me. It makes me happy because I really enjoy every meal, and I
Yeah.
love that. And I spare time and money too because I don't stay long in the kitchen, and it's not that expensive because it's very
Mhm.
simple.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because I went through my own issues with eating disorder, and then I got very ill. And
Mhm.
a lot of it had to do with lifestyle choices and what I was eating or lack of what I was eating. And I learned very quickly that if I focused on nutrients, I actually felt very, not only did I feel very satisfied, I don't get hungry as often, and I really enjoy what I eat. Like
Yeah.
when I sit down to a meal, I really enjoy having that meal.
Mm.
Before it was very different, and I don't know, it was almost like a weird addictive thing when I would eat back, in my like 20s
Mhm.
and early 30s. But um, yeah, it's incredible. Food can be extremely healing and obviously gives us our energy. Like when you don't eat
Mhm.
well, but I love that you do functional eating. I think that's
Yeah.
incredible. So
Yeah.
good for you.
Yes, it's one of the best thing that I achieved. Mm.
Oh, I love that.
Mhm.
Well, so talking about, difficult times, our next question for you is when you're kind of having one of those days, if we know we all have those kind of off bad days,
Mhm.
but when you're having one of those days, when it's just kind of difficult to show up and do what you do, what do you pull out of your back pocket, or what tools do you use to
Mm.
be able to get through your day and make it a successful day for you?
Okay. Let me think. One of the things the strategies that I use is that I can easily detach from my internal discomfort, which means that I don't deny it. I don't deny it. I don't suppress it. I just detach, and this helps me to go through what I have to go through or to do what I have to do to show up. Yeah, without interfering with my performance or with the things that I have to do. Yeah. Mm-mm. And I
That,
must say that if I am having a very very bad moment that I really can't get out of bed, then I just don't show up. I say why and to
Mhm.
excuse me, of course, because yeah,
Mhm.
I don't want to be kind of machine like in the past. I just worked and went through everything without considering my needs, and I've learned to say sorry, I can't because, and then, but it has to be
Mhm.
extreme, of course. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit more about when you say you detach from whatever's negative at the time. Uh, How does that look like for you? How does
Mm, it's like, for example, you see, I don't know, a child that uh, fell into a deep hole and he's screaming, and you feel that you have to save him, but then you are also scared to jump in and to save him. So what do? You detach from the fear and jump in. You make
Mhm.
sure that you secure yourself, jump in and
Mhm.
save the child.
Mhm.
A thing like this. I mean, it's
Mhm.
that I feel the discomfort, but I have to save the child. So I jump.
gotcha,
I don't know
gotcha.
if it is clear.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes
No, that
sense.
example made it
Yeah,
very clear.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Excellent.
after this, I take care of my discomfort, of course. Yeah.
Mhm. But
Mhm.
I also like that you said if it's just one of those days where it's an extreme, just a really bad day, that
Mhm.
you allow yourself to just say, this is just a really bad day. And
Yeah.
it just, that is what it is. And I think that is, we were talking about it in another interview. That is one of the things that I struggled with for so long.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was okay to have a bad day. And so when I would have them, I would beat myself up for it, and it would make it even worse, of course. And
Mhm.
now I have learned to just, and it doesn't happen very often anymore, but when it does, I just okay, so this is just a really bad day today, and I'm just going to allow myself to have that. And usually it doesn't even end up lasting a whole day anymore anyways. With it, and I think it's partially because I've allowed myself to feel that feeling, like we say, feel the feels, and just be okay with that and settle in that, and then you can move forward. So
Exactly.
I thank you for saying that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're welcome.
So our fourth question, and while yes, every experience that we have forms who we are today, but we tend to have certain experiences that stand out in forming us who we are. So what life experience most formed who you are today?
Let's say that I've come to a different opinion about that, because in many years ago I thought that too, that our experiences form us, and in a certain way they do. But waking up and going through eating disorders, severe depression, domestic violence, I understood that it's not that way, because those experiences actually make us weak. They make us waste time, energy, money. They compromise our psychological, emotional, and physical functioning, and we put our lives at risk going through those experiences. And it happened with me. All those experiences didn't make me stronger or better or richer. Everything was already inside of me. It was written inside of me what I needed to know about myself, beautiful life lessons. It was everything inside. And by eliminating the toxic elements that made me go through those experiences, everything, my essence about me, about life, came to the light, to the surface. And I could read it. I could read that information. I could see it. Finally, it could develop. So, and this is what happens actually. And there are those saying like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It is a toxic belief, because it does kill you. Sometimes immediately, sometimes later on, because the stress that your body, your soul, your mind goes through causes so many illnesses: blood pressure, blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. So it's yeah, actually those experiences, no. If my parents loved me, then they they spared me going through those experiences, and I would have been now where I am now. I would have been it much earlier in my life. I would have achieved my goals much earlier. But in this way, I went through unnecessary suffering. And the worst is that if we believe that those experiences can teach us something, then we put also our children through that unnecessary suffering. So yeah, and so I can say no, those experiences were not useful. They were useless, totally useless. I made other experiences, as like, for example, going to college. That was amazing. That was a very learnful experience. Or when I went to Peru to interview women victims of domestic violence to work on my thesis, that was a learning experience. Yeah. Other experiences that can be situational experiences, even if they are hard or difficult to go through, they can teach us something. Yeah. But toxic hardships,
So
no.
I totally get what you're saying, and I love that you put that out there. I think that that's incredible. So, and I agree with you that all those wonderful things that you are now, they were always there. They were
Yeah.
part of you. You just, because of the programming that you had, couldn't see them, didn't see them, whatever. So, what would be your best advice to give to a person, or even like for me, a mom with two young adult children? Like, what is the best piece of advice you would give so that you don't, it's not necessary to go through, like you said, the eating disorder, domestic violence, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you avoid that when you don't have that understanding that you have now, because you have that understanding now, but not everybody obviously has that. I mean, I'm assuming that's what you do in your work, but is there like one little tip or piece of advice you could give our audience how to work through some of that?
Yes, there is reflecting and observing. These are two wonderful things that we can do in order to detect signs of a possible manifestation of toxic behaviors.
Hmm.
Yeah, because if you observe and if you reflect, then you are going to see those. You are going to see those because you pay attention. For example, if a child is overeating and he does it often, watch out because that's a sign. If a child or a teenager is often aggressive, it's also a sign. If they are spending too much time behind the computer or mobile, it's also a sign that there is something that is saying, "Hey, this is not very healthy."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or yeah, what can it be more? Yeah, reflecting and observing. It's what I did a lot in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to understand, is this me or is this something that I inherited from someone in my
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
even though you don't know who. And if you don't know who from whom you inherited, you can also, for example, if you have to make an important decision or any decision, ask yourself, is it me or is it some pain that I have inside? Is it me or is it my depression, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Who is deciding this?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
then
really
you will understand what's if you have something inside yourself that needs to be eliminated. Mm.
That's really, really like fascinating. I'm like, maybe I need to work with Elena. Like, holy cow! So, do
I'm
you?
here.
So, let me ask you a question because I feel like you should. If you haven't, have you written a book? Do you have you thought about writing a book? Have you thought of any of that?
Yes, it's a work in progress.
Okay,
Yes,
good,
I've
good.
written it, and it's now. Well, I don't know how long it will take. Probably this year, but then
Hmm.
it's coming.
Okay. And do you work with people?
Yeah.
I'm feeling like it's more on an individual basis. Like you don't work in group settings, do you?
No, no, I don't
Okay.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Individual. I mean, from what you're just talking about now, I can see how
Individual,
you really
yes,
need to.
and
Yeah.
if I work with teenagers, then
Hmm.
I coach, I guide also the parents separately,
Nice.
and if they want, also together. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. So, if there's one thing that you want our audience to take away from this show today, what would that be?
It would be if you want to become free to choose how to feel, what to think, and how to behave, know that it is possible. You can evolve into a new human being and help your children do the same.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure having you on the show. And I also want to send a huge thank you out to our sponsor, Lyrios Massage and Beyond, for making this episode happen. And thank you also to our audience. If you've enjoyed what you've heard here today, please subscribe, follow, like, and share. And if you'd like to get in touch with Elena or Allison or myself, all of our contact information is in the show notes. And have I missed anything, Allison?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all. This was wonderful. A great, great interview. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Elena.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So I want to wish everyone out there a magical day.